is the statistical quantitative expertise which is required, and this has open horizon for these disciplines to produce more human resource and to have these onboarded at the banks, mathematicians and statisticians. That is it, I guess. Thank you.
Thank you. With this, I invite Mr. Amin Malik to take us through the IFRS 9 disclosures. The detailed presentation shall be available on our website. So,
thank you very much. My name is Amin Malik, and I think I'm the last presenter for IFRS 9. Why this standard is there? Because I think that is something which is the main element, which is the main crux of this whole presentation. And I think the topic which has been given to me is comparatively much boring. So I just Googled that why IFRS 9 is there. So I found a video which is long back of Arthur Andersen and Enron. So it all started in 2001, and then in 2008, it went into a meltdown of banks. So we're going to look at the video, just uploading the video. और उस वीडियो को देखने के बाद हमें आइडिया होगा कि IFRS 9 की एप्लीकेशन कितना इफेक्ट करेगी. IFRS 9 is not about just putting the figures and, you know, like the quantitative disclosures, जो बैंक के अंदर एक पूरी exercise हुई. It's all about qualitative. जो फराज साहब ने कहा कि qualitative human resource की knowledge, human resource के element होना हमारे पास actuaries होना, हमारे पास forward looking statement होना, macroeconomic variables हमारे पास होना, that is the crux of IFRS 9. और अगर forward looking नहीं है तो फिर वो IFRS 9 नहीं है. I think that is the difference. और अगर बहुत सारे लोग, अगर हमारे ज़माने के जो लोग हैं यहाँ पे बैठे हैं, उनको पता होगा कि एक प्रूडेंस कॉन्सेप्ट था, या OA लेवल्स में आज भी हम पढ़ते हैं कि प्रूडेंस कॉन्सेप्ट. प्रूडेंस मीन्स इफ यू foresee any losses, you book it right now. So ECL is all about prudence concept. कि अगर आपने फ्यूचर में कोई चीज़, अगर आपने सोची है कि फ्यूचर में कोई चीज़ के ऊपर आपको लॉस करना है, तो आपको आज ही वो लॉस को रिकॉर्ड करना है. So अगर आप बैंकिंग सेक्टर पे बात करते हैं, whenever you take a loan, तो वो ये कहते हैं, okay fine, you're an individual, you're a consumer. Let's suppose you talk about a corporate. Let's suppose you talk about ICI or Angro. So ICI और Angro में Kaibor +1 और Kaibor -1 में वो लोन मिलता है. But if Amin Malik goes there, तो Amin Malik को वो लोन मिलता है Kaibor +4%. Why this 3% is charged in the rate, in the pricing of the bank? What is the crux behind? That 3% actually represent the default, the EAD, the PD, whatever name you call. वो 3% मेरे chances है default के, जो कि वो built in करते हैं, और जो provision IFRS 9 actually आपको कह रहा है. अभी एक पूरा article इसके ऊपर आया है, I think Facebook के अंदर जो Big 4 की जो वेबसाइट है, उसमें बहुत सारे आर्टिकल्स आपको मिलेंगे. ये एक आर्टिकल इस वक्त आया है कि जो दुनिया के रेगुलेटर्स हैं, वो इस वक्त ये क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हैं कि you have made all the quantitative disclosures, but the quality, the implementation quality is still a questionable event. जो रेगुलेटर्स हैं, prudential regulators like central banks है, जैसे पाकिस्तान में स्टेट बैंक है, they are actually asking a question कि क्या जो implement हुआ है IFRS 9, क्या वो actually represent कर रहा है इकोनॉमी को. Because अगर IFRS 9 मौजूद है, तो फिर ऑडिट रिपोर्ट के 1 महीने के बाद जो यूके के अंदर कंपनीज कोलैप्स करती है, वो नहीं होनी चाहिए थी. तो अगर बैंक्स कोलैप्स करते हैं 1 महीने के बाद या 2 महीने के बाद, वो IFRS 9 के मॉडल अगर करेक्ट है, तो वो चीज़ उस मॉडल में कैप्चर हो सकती है. बिकॉज इट्स ऑल अबाउट बायसनेस. तो जितने भी डिस्क्लोजर्स हैं वो भी बायस्ड हैं, और डिस्क्लोजर बहुत कॉमन सेंस है. तो जब हम स्लाइड देखेंगे, बिकॉज मेरे पास टाइम की थोड़ी सी शॉर्टेज है, तो मैं आपको डिस्क्लोजर बहुत इजीली समझा दूंगा कि वो डिस्क्लोजर का कॉन्सेप्ट क्या है. बिकॉज हमें कॉन्सेप्ट समझना है. किताब सबके पास मौजूद है, IFRS सबके पास मौजूद है, तो हमें कॉन्सेप्ट समझना है. सो लेट्स लुक एट द वीडियो फर्स्ट ऑफ Enron and the biggest firm at that time, Arthur Andersen, how it collapsed. Okay, it's a YouTube video, so it's available. Yeah. Volume.
It took them 24 days to go bankrupt.
Just an immediate sense of outrage at Lay and Skilling and Fastow when people realized how much they had profited and how completely artificial the appearance of this company had been.
That nobody could really understand, and in fact that many of Kenway's lieutenants questioned. They said this business can't be making this much money legitimately. Something weird is going on.
Mark-to-market accounting allowed Enron to book potential future profits on the very day a deal was signed. No matter how little cash actually came in the door, to the outside world, Enron's profits could be whatever Enron said they were.
Things that fascinated me was that almost all of the Wall Street analysts who covered Enron had buy ratings or strong buy ratings on the company's stock.
One analyst who didn't buy the company line became an enemy of Enron. Enron's CFO, Andy Fastow, had his eye on John Olson, one of the only analysts skeptical of the Enron story.
Enron loved analyst strong buy recommendations.
Merrill was informed by Fastow, either you get somebody who is on board with us and has a strong buy recommendation and loves us at the same time, or we don't do any business with you.
Merrill Lynch fired John Olson. Soon after, Fastow rewarded the bank with 2 investment banking jobs worth $50 million. His job was to cover up the fact that Enron was becoming a financial fantasy land. To please the boss, Fastow had to figure out a way to keep the stock price up by hiding the fact that Enron was $30 billion in debt. Enron was just stashing its debt in Fastow's companies where investors couldn't see it. LJM was Fastow's most ambitious creation. It would work magic for Enron, and it would allow Fastow to conjure $45 million for himself. Returns that would exceed 2,000%. 96 individual bankers invested in LJM, and America's major banks put up as much as $25 million each.
The Enron fraud is the story of synergistic corruption. There are supposed to be checks and balances in the system. The lawyers are supposed to say no. The accountants are supposed to say no. The bankers are supposed to say no, but no one who was supposed to say no said no. They all took their share of the money from the fraud and put it in their pockets.
Enron paid its advisors well. In 2001, the accounting firm Arthur Andersen received $1 million a week. Enron's law firm, Vinson & Elkins, did nearly as well.
Oh, for instance, one email I remember where the banker writes, Enron loves these deals. They produce cash, but they don't have to show the debt on the balance sheet. Now, a high school student can figure out that the banks were all knowing participants in this wrongdoing.
Merrill Lynch assisted Enron in cooking its books by pretending to purchase an existing Enron asset when it was really engaged in a loan.
California was selected by Enron as the prime place to experiment with this new concept of deregulated electricity.
Commodity that normally trades in the $35 to $45 range, high prices are when it gets in the 50s or $1,000.
Prices aren't going to stay at $1,000 forever. It weeds out the weak people in the market. Get rid of them, and you know what? The people who are strong stick around.
Traders soon discovered that by shutting down power plants, they could create artificial shortages that would push
guys to get a little creative, and come up with a reason to go down.
Like a forced outage type thing.
Right.
West Coast traders made nearly $2 billion for Enron.
The difference is between the state of California and the Titanic. At least when the Titanic went down, the lights were on.
In 2001, less than 4 months after Skilling's resignation, Enron declared bankruptcy. His accounting firm, Arthur Andersen, had begun destroying its Enron files. Enron's accounting firm, Arthur Andersen, was convicted of obstructing justice. With its reputation for honesty destroyed, America's oldest accounting firm fell along with Enron, and 29,000 people lost their jobs.
Okay. Yeah. So these are the key points. Okay. Let's because I knew there was a time shortage. So let's see what is now required for IFRS 9. It's basically the offsetting disclosures. So now, previously we used to offset things and we never used to see the gross elements. So आपको अभी gross चीज़ भी दिखानी है, and then whatever you're netting off, आपको वो चीज़ IFRS 9 की एक requirement है जो आपको ये present करनी है. All the disclosures are presented in IFRS 7, but there are certain things which are there in IFRS 9 we need to be catered. The second one is the significance of financial instruments, obviously the categories and all that, and the nature of risk. So it's all about risk management. What are the risks, how the risks are being managed, and what are the risk management policies. ये पूरी banking की जो risk management है, this is actually part of IFRS 9 disclosure checklist. Then quantitative and qualitative disclosure. So the IFRS is saying qualitative first and quantitative later on. But probably if you see the international disclosure right now, जो half-yearly accounts के अंदर आए, वो quantitatively ज़्यादा है, qualitatively कम है. Then hedge accounting, impairment disclosures, offsettings, and transfers, these are all required under IFRS 9. And then finally, if you disclose anything at amortized cost, you have to disclose the fair value. Because the IFRS concept is to put everything at the fair value. I think in future you're going to see the accounting that everything going to convert into a fair value model. Because that's the crux, that's the aim of IFRS. And then finally, you have to show the carrying value also. So whenever you do anything you state anything at a fair value, you have to show the carrying value of these things in the financial statements. IFRS thing, so this is the article, I've just summarized the article. This is what the regulator is now saying, that IFRS 9 promises to have a marked effect on the bank's financial result, and it is becoming clearer that it will have an equal significant impact on supervision. In particular, the quality of IFRS 9 implementation will affect several important elements of the supervisory review and evaluation process, SREP. To avoid problems, IFRS 9 qualitative requirements should be more important than the quantitative requirements which are disclosed in the banks. What's new in IFRS? This is the fair value through OCI we have already discussed. We talked about credit risk management, we talked about quantitative and qualitative disclosures and the ECL models and the credit risk exposure. So ये सब disclosures जो है, जो भी इस वक्त conversation हुई है, ये आपको financial statements में मिलेंगे. Financial statements will increase by 20 to 30 pages by just putting the disclosure. I'm talking about the banks because banks पे सब ज़्यादा इसका impact है. Okay, what is the crux? This is the objective of the disclosure, that what are the significant financial instruments, what are the risks which are there in the financial instruments, and how the bank is managing the risk. If the bank couldn't manage the risk, banking sector, जो particular bank है, that will actually collapse, that the company will actually collapse. So the risk management disclosure, जो इस वक्त आपको accounts के आखिरी pages पे मिलते हैं, जो normally from investors perspective या from student perspective ज़्यादा focus नहीं होता, IFRS 9 talks about those disclosures only. First-time adoption, if you do a first-time adoption, let's go to the main slide. So if we do a first-time adoption, we have to follow IFRS 8. There are certain exemptions. So normally, जो चीज़ follow हुई, वो ये follow हुई कि we restated, like in Pakistan, we did a test run. So we restated the opening retained earnings. So that's an allowed alternative. कि इसी साल अगर 2017 के ऊपर हमने वो follow किया है, so 2017 की जो opening retained earning है, उसके अंदर IFRS 9 का impact आपने state कर दिया है. Those impact will actually hit the economy. Because इस वक्त जो आपकी market है, जो 36,000 points में मतलब 5 साल पहले के market आ चुकी है, उसमें IFRS 9 का impact आज मौजूद नहीं है. So जिस दिन वो apply होता है, वो automatically it will hit the market and it will obviously जो हमारा economy की इस वक्त हालत है, so it will create a pressure on the economy. Okay, offsetting we have already done, so you have to give the gross disclosure and the netting off. And if we do a reclassification, we have to mention okay, why are we doing it? Why are we changing the model? Because model के basis पे आप पूरा disclosure दे रहे हैं. So if we change the model, we have to state why are we doing that? What are the basis of changing the model? और आगे futuristic statement आपको दे रही है कि आगे जाके what will be the chances कि model will not change? So again, all the disclosures are very subjective. तो बहुत कम banks में इस वक्त half year accounts के अंदर वो चीज़ internationally इस वक्त IFRS 9 के अंदर ये disclosures मौजूद है. But आगे जाके obviously the central banks in world over, they are focused on qualitative disclosure. Why are we changing that? Because by changing the model, you can actually change the financial figures in the income statement. Impairment, so if we talk about impairments, we have to give disclosures about ECL, what method have been used, what are the 12 months criteria, when we are focusing on lifetime criteria. 12 months criteria is very simple. कि अगर एक impaired loan नहीं है तो मैं ये देखूंगा कि 12 महीने के अंदर उसके chances of impairment कितनी है, और अगर कोई चीज को ट्रिगर करता है, ट्रिगर ये करता है कि अगर 30 days overdue है, so if you look at the banks, जैसे फराज ने अभी 2 मिनट पहले कहा कि if you look at the banks कहती है नहीं 90 days, 89 day पे बंदा पेमेंट करता है. IFRS is saying that 30 days का मतलब है कि the credit default factor has been there in the customer. पाकिस्तान की जो नेचर है वो completely different है, because पाकिस्तान में 89 day पे करता है. So the presumption needs to be rebutted. Okay, like जो IFRS 9 की presumption है कि 30 days के बाद वो lifetime के ऊपर जाता है, वो बहुत सारे बैंकों ने जो है वो उसको accept नहीं किया है और वो 90 days के ऊपर चले गए. So I think this is a question जो कि आगे जाके we have to think over that if the world is focusing on 30 days, we have to follow what the world is doing. Because obviously जिसने IFRS बनाया, they must have surveyed all the markets, the developing sector and the developed sector. Trade receivables, so if we talk about trade receivables, so if you talk about corporate, so बहुत सारे corporate customers हैं, so they always say that IFRS 9 is not applicable on them. हम वही provisioning करेंगे 25%, 30% on the basis of time-based criteria. Time-based you can use, okay? So if you look at the basis of conclusion, it says that you can use time-based criteria, provided you have to include futuristic assumptions, the macroeconomic variable. इसकी simple example है कि अगर कोई चीज़ 60 days overdue होती है और मेरा criteria था कि मैं उसको 20% provision करता हूँ, तो क्या economy में वो 60 days जो overdue होता है, क्या वाकई वो 20% loss होता है कि वो 30% loss होता है? So you have to do a market survey. You have to do the GDP growth. जैसे पाकिस्तान के जो outlook है, if you look at the outlook, तो पाकिस्तान का outlook काफी weak इस वक्त दिखाया है. आपकी जो growth rate है, वो 1-2% से down चले गई है. Will it affect the provision which are there in the corporate? If you go for to the theory, yes, it will affect. क्या actually clients या corporate people they are doing that? This is a question mark. So from the corporate side also, this will be very tricky because economic variables are not favorable. It will affect the provision as per the requirement of IFRS 9. You cannot apply the traditional provisioning methodology without including the futuristic assumption. IFRS 9 is all about expectation. Expectation को इसके अंदर built in करना है कि economy down होगी, मेरा customer default करेगा, मुझे यहाँ पे provision की hit लेनी है, जो आज लेनी है, जो कि फ्यूचर के अंदर मेरे अकाउंट्स के अंदर आनी है. Credit risk management, this is the most important element. How the credit risk department is there, what are the people who are managing the risk? Credit risk management is not only about credit people, it is about how the bank is being run, how the customers are being followed, how the corporate people are handling their department. अगर आप किसी सेठ से बात करें, उनको टिप्स पे पता है कि कौन सा कस्टमर उनको कब पैसे देगा. This is all about credit risk management. It's not about कि आप कोई कस्टमर को जाके एक फॉलो कॉल कर रहे हैं या ये कर रहे हैं. This is how you handle the bank. This is all about handling the bank, running the show, handling the corporate side, the credit customer. Like if we talk about firms, तो firms के अंदर भी credit default होते हैं, customer timely pay नहीं करते हैं. उस कस्टमर को जो फॉलो अप करता है, वो respective partner